Now this is MUWOP, the one you see in the picture before you, the one who struck fear in the ones like King Yellow, Butter, and Trenches News that prompt him to do interviews like this.
He did. He know what he did. The world ain't nobody talking about. Before Vaughn came home, ain't no play with Duck, nigga. Duck lost his life. When this got some money, come on now, man.
He's not here to defend him.
And this clown, who instead of riding for his homeboy, took the stands and even tried to implement Little Dirt, saying MUWOP was with Dirt on the plane.
Duck was a rapper, gang. Duck wasn't sliding, gang. Come on, bro. Out of here, dude, them. Fuck them. It's been stops. Fuck them now. Fuck them tomorrow. Fuck them the next day. Fuck them the day after that. Oh, Tuka, fuck them. Y'all did that to y'allself. And Lil Durk helped. You talking about? Cause all them niggas was with Lil Durk. They flew in. Everybody keeps saying Shorty and them got snatched out of Parkway. Shorty and them got snatched out of Parkway. No, the f they did. Shorty and them got snatched out the airport. Getting off Lil Durk jet, gang.
And Mr. Splinter himself, who hid his face for a long time because he was a government informant.
It's at court. He ain't even want to look at me. He put his head down. I'm standing all. I ain't gonna lie to you. I ain't got no love for none of them, bro. On some real, it took 70 y'all, 80 y'all to plot on one person. Like, y'all need to be in.
Now, in this documentary of the life of MUWOP, Marcus Smart, you're going to see why he struck fear in those guys and why he was the first one to ride for Vaughn, the first one to slap for Vaughn. Sit back and watch. This is a documentary of the life of Marcus Smart, a.k.a. MUWOP. A lot of things you're going to see in this video is real-life depictions, the words that come directly from the people's mouth, and stories about a guy who struck fear in the heart of his rivals. Here we go, Old Block's finest, MUWOP, Chirac Demon. Even when FBG Cash was rapping about how they were 20 deep in Atlanta and no one shot, MUWOP was there to the end. He was the first one. Well, could he been the first one to slide for Vaughn? Look at this video so you can tell for yourself. And as King Von lay helpless in the streets of Atlanta, and like FBG Cash said, most of the old blockers had ran, here comes Chirac Demon, the youngest of them all, MUWOP, on the scene, and he the first one to slide for Vaughn. Boom! He KO'd Quando Rondo, who supposedly was trying to still rip the chain off of King Von's neck. This brother never left his brother's side. Through all the gunplay, look who still was there in the end. Way after Little Tim and everyone had ran. It's none other than the Chirac's newest demon, MUWOP. Now, before King Von's mainstream successor, let's take a look at who are we talking about. Known to the world as MUWOP, he was born Marcus Smart, January 4th, 1999, and raised in the now famous O Block, or infamous O Block, which by that time it was called Wick City. He was friends to rapper King Von, people like Boss Top, people like Keith Chief, all who hail from this famous project housing that's in the south side of Chicago. Just like any other normal kid, he grew up in these wicked streets of the inner cities and being heavily influenced by drill music. Being from the neighborhood that gave birth to drill music or put drill music on the world stage, what was his destiny and what he would turn out to be? And was he shaped by those individuals, rappers that came before him, and what he turned out to be? This is the story of MUWOP. It's sad but true, but these are very familiar, great outfits that for anyone who comes from the inner cities of the United States. But before he had to put them gray joggies on, let's see what happened. Now, with all this sophisticated technology that the feds have in tracking someone's location and someone's eventual whole activity for a day, it took for a murder that happened in the Gold Coast on Chicago's south side, well, downtown Chicago, for them to actually implement this technology in order to find those who they believe, those who they accuse of being involved in the crime. This is the last day. This is the day that changed the life of MUWOP. This is the footage where they were tracking individuals who left the infamous O Block in cars heading towards downtown. According to the feds and their allegations, these cars were traveling simultaneously in concert with each other throughout the city of Chicago and heading towards downtown Chicago, where supposedly rival gang member FBG Duck, who was on the Gold Coast in Chicago shopping for his son. Now, the Gold Coast is famous for high-end shopping, where there is little to no violence expected to be happening on this part of Chicago. It's reserved for some of the most famous and the richest people that visit Chicago. This is where you're supposed to be safe. So, unbeknownst to FBG Duck, this will be his last and final day with us. Because these two cars that left, and we don't know who actually occupied these cars, but according to the feds, the infamous Old Block 5 were inside these two cars, driving in concert, like I said before, down, Lakeshore Drive, or whatever it is that takes you into the heart of Chicago's downtown Gold Coast district. Now, the feds saying that in these cars were individuals. Among those individuals was MUWOP, the person of the story today. MUWOP was supposedly be in these cars. And as they turned down this street where Duck was located, it is said by the feds that the first person to exit this car, as you can see the two cars right here, I guess they're waiting to turn at the light. And you can see that they still in concert with one another. They said the first person to exit this car, when they arrived on the scene where someone had gave the location of fellow Chicago native and rapper FBG Duck, they saying that MUWOP was the first one to exit the car and begin the assault against FBG Duck. There is no conclusive evidence because these individuals, the camera, you can barely see the activity, and the camera doesn't show no one's face. But there are claims that MUWOP was the first one to exit the car and begin the assault. Unfortunately, some mother lost their child's life that day. But this is how MUWOP ended up in those all grays. But how did it come to that? And what happened in between that? Was there self-snitching, or was there individuals who took the stand against MUWOP in the Old Block 5? Now, Chicago rappers are very known for rapping about true events that happened and took place in their rap songs. Unlike back in the days when two people crossed paths, it was well known that if one came up missing, then what happened? But nowadays, they have to brag about it on both social media and rap songs before they can get the credit. They don't understand they will get the credit without saying anything. But let's listen to some of the things that were said by these individuals that led the feds to believe they are bragging about crimes that were committed.
Soon when he fall off his feet. Hey, the biggest cherry.
Look out for the tour.
Rest in peace, Duck. Okay, he's like, you got anything about FBG Duck? That's you know what I'm saying? You know, don't say shit about Troy. That's it.
Now, just like in Detroit, in Chicago, it's well known that if certain people kill each other, it's very seldom that the police will solve any kind of crime. So these guys were brazen because they were figuring no one solves crimes that's committed in these inner cities between rival gangs. But this being a killing that happened in the Gold Coast, they underestimated the police resolve and their ability to actually solve a crime if they really wanted to. Now, if you're a fan of King Von and drill music, you will understand that MUWOP was mentioned by him and Dirt numerous of times throughout their songs. But here's what King Von thought about him in real life.
My bodyguard. Come on, bodyguard. This MUWOP, he crazy. He got all type of body. No, just player.
Have you ever noticed the younger they are, the more vicious they are? Because they have not learned what real consequences are. As MUWOP grew, I wonder now, do he understand the consequences of some of his actions? And some of the things that King Von would rap about would propel him into a light that he didn't want shined on him. Now, he had become the obvious leader under the generation of King Von. And look at his last live that he did before his arrest.
You trying to play some poker ball, Chuck?
Oh, that's all now.
Nice. Remember that?
Oh, David.
Nice.
That bitch getting that 2 card, 2,000 on phone of my bro. On phone of my bro.
I'll wipe the shit out, bro.
Can't wait till we see this. Hey, he say folks got took a bill. Hey, look, for them.
Now, since before you, MUWOP and his great friend King Von, two demons that hail from Chirac. And MUWOP sits in federal penitentiary right now, awaiting his sentencing for the charges that he was convicted in the RICO trial of the O Block 6. He is one of those ones that didn't you want to play with, and here's another part of his story. Now, this young, charismatic young man who had a close relationship with King Von did a lot of things in his short life that he had in this free world, including a lot of lives. Let's take a look at some of his lives and why people in O Block seem to follow MUWOP.
I'm fine now. Oh, yeah, I'm fine now. You know we got get.
Now, if this little scrawny kid from the projects in Chicago would have used that charismatic character that he has to lead the youth away from the street violence and maybe using the drill music to propel his career and maybe make a fortune off of the rap scene, instead he turned into a demon and been accused now of multiple crimes, including facilitating murder in a racketeering RICO Act and all kinds of crazy weirdness. I don't want to accuse the brother of anything. I know he got a lot of appeals coming up and everything. And I want the brother to be free. And I'm not no one near like King Yellow, FBG Butter, or Trenches News, who wishing nothing but bad on their own fellow Chicago people, however they use the name, Chiracans. It's unbelievable that a young man so young demanded so much respect from the older and the younger generation that he would end up in a situation where he's in a dogfight for his life. But I'm going to tell you like this, you in a dogfight, young man, but at least you win it. Keep fighting, and one day you'll come home to all those haters who wanted to see you, who was scared of you and wanted to see you locked up. This has been one of Chirac's wildest young men that come along in a long time. Free the guys, free MUWOP, so he can get on with his career and his life. This story is about a living legend whose freedom has been taken, but it's also a tribute to those who came and those who lost their lives in this epic battle. Rest in peace to these guys, because being from Detroit, I have so many rappers that I can rest in peace that died in this senseless violence of being on the streets. But this is dedicated to the Chicago drill culture. So rest up, guys, and free those guys, because ain't no need for them to suffer and rot in jail. That ain't gonna bring nobody back. Peace to one of the youngest and strongest guys, MUWOP.